everyone, this is the New Theologian. Welcome back to my channel. Today's topic is dealing with anger. I want to talk about anger and anger management. Anger is a real issue. Everyone gets angry for one reason or another. Sometimes it's because of a sense of injustice. Sometimes it can be fear or betrayal or shame because of something you did or didn't do. So anger is real. I want to deal with how to address the issue of anger and how to manage your own anger issues as you move forward. I've had some challenges in that area in my life. I'll tell a story. When I was just entering the workforce a number of years ago, I took a job right out of college and I started working for a firm in the western loop of Chicago. And I had this boss who I worked for, and he seemed to be a pretty decent guy, but he was just the kind of guy who was pretty provocative. He would say things just to get you to react. And so one day we were having a conversation, and I was that day, for whatever reason, I wasn't really feeling his banter. And so he was talking, and then something he said made it sound real personal to me. And so I responded, and it escalated quickly. And then I stood up out of my seat, and he started to back up. And I started to follow this guy around the office. All of a sudden, I just kind of gone from 1 to 10 in terms of anger. And I started following him slowly and then quickly. And I was basically speed walking around the office trying to chase this guy down. While I was doing this, one of the administrators, the secretary, was calling my name, and she was shouting my name, and I just couldn't hear. There's something about when anger gets out of control. You just are out of your mind. You're kind of crazy. You kind of lose your sense of where you are and what's happening. And so I really couldn't hear her. And so about the third time around, she saved me. She physically grabbed me, and snatched me into an office. And when I sat down with her, I was just still babbling about what he had done and how I felt. And it took me a few minutes to calm down and to regain perspective. See, anger can really get us out of sync. It can cause us to have the wrong perspectives. I'm not proud of that story, but it's a real story. It really happened. And so I tell that because anger is a real issue that can really cause us to derail and to get ourselves into some real trouble. There's a passage in Ephesians 4:26 that says, "Don't sin by letting anger control you." I was in a place where anger was controlling me, and I was getting worked up, and I didn't really understand what was happening. See, when anger starts to control you, you don't always know why you're escalating, why you're getting angry. You don't know what the root cause is, and so anger can be deceptive and misleading, and it can take you places that you had not intended to go. And so I was in that place, and by the grace of God, someone intervened in that moment and kept me out of prison. Because I tell you, at that point, I wanted to just get my hands around his neck and do some harm to the gentleman. Fortunately, that didn't happen, and I'm here today to present this story to you. But I want to talk about how I dealt with it, how I addressed my anger issue. First of all, anger is not a one-time fix. It's really a journey. It's really learning how to manage and manage your own emotions, to have self-control. There's a passage in Proverbs 16:32. It says that self-control is better than conquering a city. In other words, having self-control is more powerful because it takes moral character and fortitude. It's easy to go berserk and to destroy and to fight and to rant. That doesn't take a lot of discipline. But controlling yourself, controlling your emotions takes a lot of work. And so I want to give you 3 things that you can do to start on the journey of managing your anger. 1, first of all, you have to own it. I had to own it. I had to recognize I had an anger issue. I had to deal with my anger. My anger issues came from a number of things. It came from my background, being poor, issues of rejection, a whole host of things. You know, we all have issues that we can be angry about. But I had a host of issues that made me get to a point where I was explosive, and I didn't really recognize it. So I had to own it. I couldn't blame anybody. I couldn't blame our circumstances. I couldn't blame people. I couldn't blame the world for how I reacted to issues that got me ticked off. And so you have to own it, number 1. Number 2, you need to understand it. You need to spend some time trying to get at the root cause of your anger. Why are you angry? Why am I so upset? It took me some years to work through that process, to get to the place where I recognize, oh, this stemmed from my background. This stemmed from feelings of rejection. This stemmed from feeling like I was on the outside and not being a participant in what was going on. Whatever the reason is, whatever the reason is you feel angry, you need to get to the root of it, understand it. And number 3, you need to resolve it. How do you do that? Resolution is one of the more difficult things. Sometimes you need to have a conversation with the person who offended you. Now that's difficult. I've tried to do that before. Sometimes those conversations are productive and they can really bring you to a place of healing. Sometimes they're frustrating and you just throw up your hands, but you still have to resolve it. You have to learn to release it. You have to release it. You have to let it go. It's important that you understand this because anger will eat at you. You have to acknowledge it, you have to understand it, but you have to ultimately release it. You don't want to live your life angry. You don't want to live your life feeling like you've been done great injustice. And so one of the ways, especially as Christians, that we can move forward towards releasing our anger is through repentance. See, repentance is simply saying, God, I know you've got a better agenda. I'm going to release mine. I'm going to give you my agenda, and I'm going to take yours because I believe that you have a better way forward. And so what you're doing is you're recognizing that your way was a dead end and that you want a better way, and you're accepting God's way forward. And so as you move into a place of owning it, as you move into a place of understanding what the triggers are and why you're angry, then you need to move to that next step, that step of releasing it. It's not going to be overnight. It's a process. You're going to have to manage your emotions until you leave this earth or until the Lord returns. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. Please go down and like it, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. Thanks. Until next time. God bless.